Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I am Jess Golson with Connected Nation, and what I'd like to do is present two initiatives that we have going on with Connected Nation that we've paired with AT&T to discuss and see if I can get some feedback from you guys. If not, that's cool, but I do want to kind of walk you through and let you see what we have going on. I do want to go ahead and start off and say that every resource that I'm going to present today is absolutely free for you to use at any time. There will never be a charge. In fact, one of these initiatives offers an incentive, a paid incentive to participants. So just keep your ears open and be aware. You can ask questions in the chat at any time. I'm going to record this session so that I can share it with others as we move forward. So if you have questions, again, you can use the chat. You can come off of mute and ask them as we go. All right, so again, I'm with Connected Nation. Connected Nation is a broadband solutions nonprofit. And so while we focused on getting everybody connected to the internet all over the US, one of the issues that we seem to run into a lot is that even if somebody has internet access, they struggle to use it, or they're not aware of a lot of the resources that are available to them when they do use the internet. Hence, the initiatives I'm going to share with you today. I do want to touch base on this very first one that you see on the screen called the Digital Skills Workshops. We're not going to go into detail about it today, but it is a valuable resource that is available that Connected Nation offers paired with AT&T. We do send some of our staff into your community to local libraries in your area, and they provide guidance and teach basic digital skills to some of the senior members of the community. It is something that we have available. If you'd like more information or you want to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. At the end of this little session, I'm going to give you my contact information, so you can always reach out to me via email with any of those questions. The first thing that we're going to talk about today is actually down here on the other side. That's the Achievery. And the Achievery is an online platform that I'm going to dive in. We're going to look at some examples, kind of talk about what the Achievery brings to the table that other online platforms don't necessarily offer that are available as free resources right now. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with Teens Teach Tech, which is really going to be geared more towards our 9th through 12th grade students and their families. So it's perfectly acceptable after we finish the Achievery. If you don't have a high schooler and you don't work with youth and you're not interested in learning more about that teen program, feel free to go ahead and hop off at any point. All right, here we go. The Achievery. All right, so the Achievery, the goal of the Achievery is to make distance learning more engaging, entertaining, and inspiring for K through 12 students. The Achievery is a free online digital learning platform that is created by AT&T. Now, AT&T is the creator of the Achievery, but they are not the content creators. And so what that means, and I'm going to show you in just a second when we log into the Achievery, is that the content, these videos that are provided on the platform have actually been created by multiple organizers that you are very familiar with, ranging from Cartoon Network to Girls Who Code, Khan Academy, and many more. And I'm going to show you where you can see who those content creators are, as well as give you an example of some of the videos that they have posted on the Achievery. So what is the Achievery overall, right? So this platform features clips from some of the most popular, well-loved films, TV shows, and animated series from Warner Media. They're paired with lessons and learning activities and objectives that students can engage in wherever you learn. What does wherever you learn mean? Right? Well, some of you may be teachers. You may teach in a classroom and you have students that learn in your classroom, whether you're a co-op instructor or you teach in a typical school environment in a classroom. And so students are learning in that environment. There's multiple students in there, all the same grade or age level, and the Achievery can be used to show to all of the students at once and use as kind of a head start into a lesson. Some learners learn at home, right? Homeschool families, I know there are quite a few of you who are homeschool parents. And so you have, kids of a couple of different age groups, couple of different grade levels potentially in your home. And they're learning in your home environment, which is much smaller and not in a large classroom. And there's still an individual aspect of the Achievery that works for those as well. And even still, we have some nonprofit organizations that put together youth events or have after-school programs that are a really great resource for students to be able to come together and get additional learning access, that's the word I was looking for, learning access while they're at those programs. And so the Achievery has activities that program leaders for after school programs can then show and display for the students that are in attendance there. So wherever a student learns, whether it's at home, in their community, in the classroom, it doesn't matter. The Achievery is a really great resource for them to use. And so what I'm going to do without further ado is go ahead and pop over and show you the Achievery, the website itself. Welcome to the Achievery. The Achievery is free, right? We talked about all these resources free. So the Achievery is 100% free. What does that mean, right? Free usually comes with some kind of twist, but no, free means there's no pro version. There's not an upgrade version. There is not a, okay, it's free if you want this, but if you'd like to upgrade and get additional video content or unlock specific things, you pay. It's absolutely 100% free. And the whole point is just to provide an additional resource to parents like you all over the US to be able to help with educating your youngsters. The Achievery has 7 different categories that are featured currently. What does that mean? It means that this is a brand new platform, brand spanking new, just rolled out at the beginning of 2023 really and pushed. So what we're looking at here is a platform that is growing and will continue to grow. And right now, these 7 subject areas, English language arts, social emotional learning, tech and engineering, digital arts, math, science, and digital literacy are the feature subjects that the Achievery offers. It doesn't mean that they're the only subjects that Achievery will ever offer, but while we're new and while we're growing, this is what we have content for at the moment. Let me go back to my little thingy here because I got some more information for you. Flipping all over the place. There we go. Being so stubborn. Go here for me, please. Gotta love technology. When you're teaching about technology, technology gets real technical. All right. So what does the Achievery offer that matters to you? Well, there are K through 12 options. This means that the subject content is divided up by grade level or groups of grade level. In a second, we're going to go back to that Achievery website, and I'm going to show you what I mean by groups of grade level and how to search by grade level. There are 7 subject areas like we discussed. It has engaging lessons that are designed with the learner in mind. This means that these video clips that they show and the lesson content that's provided are created specifically thinking about the child or children that are in that age group that would be able to learn from this content. So the information is presented in a way that fits the learning needs of children in those grade levels. There are lesson plans attached with every video, and I'll show you one of those too. And social and emotional learning options, which is, I think, a unique aspect of this platform that you don't see in a lot of other areas. Social and emotional learning is huge in school and public school. You know, they've got counselors who come in pretty regularly during counseling as they rotate through specials and talk to the students about social media, about body image, about, you know, just being able to be your own person and loving yourself. And there's a lot kind of packed in there. And I think it's really cool that the Achievery has this as an option as opposed to just typical core subjects, because within the social and emotional learning content subject area, there's quite a bit videos that really address things that our students are going to be going through, whether they traditionally learn in a classroom or in a home. I did want to point out ways that it can be used for homeschool families, because that really is kind of our target area and who we've been talking with more recently, but also because this type of content, when it's free, is usually a really great resource to add on to what we're already doing in our homes as homeschool parents. So there is individual study time for students allotted with Achievery. These videos are short, sweet, and to the point. They keep the content very clear. But it can be something that you can have your child go ahead and log on and access their Achievery. They have to be 12 or older to create their own account. Otherwise, you can create an account as a parent or teacher and they can use it. And then they can watch the video and do the supplementary lesson plan activities that are attached. We call these lesson appetizers, the videos. It's an appetizer because this is not your full curriculum. These videos don't include an entire class worth of material. They don't ask questions and they don't have tests involved with them. They're just the beginning of the meal, right? They're just to kind of introduce the new subject. So when we're starting to learn new content, a certain unit or subject area, these make really good appetizers to get the kids started with these familiar characters and things that like spark their interest so that they're actually paying attention before you then dive in with your curriculum to show them or teach them that new concept. And they boost subject interest with familiar characters in a way that is engaging in and of itself, I think, is really how I would say to target that. It means that these students have the opportunity to see not only characters that make them want to watch, but these characters are from TV shows and video games. The content is created by people like Khan Academy, where they've, a lot of students have already used that in school, and they have familiar kind of concept that goes with that. And so this doesn't feel like something new or difficult that they have to struggle through to learn, or where they may kind of space out. Because they're short and they're familiar, that kind of really boosts that interest level for them. So like I said, I'm going to pop back over here to the Achievery because I want to show you some of this content and let you really see what this looks like. First, I want to kind of scroll down here, and new content was just added like within the last week. So one of the things that you can expect with the Achievery, even though we're in the growing stages here, and I know I started with that, is that there's going to be new content dropped every quarter. What that content would look like, how much it's going to be, is going to vary. It's going to be based on those content creators and what AT&T is bringing. However, the important part is that it's still free, right? So it's not going to change and suddenly cost you something because now there's new content with more involved videos or lessons. It's still free. It's going to stay free. Just want to stress that for you. I figured what we do is dive into some of this new content right off the bat. So I want to look at this here, this video. If you go into the Achievery register, you just kind of scroll down. You can search via one of these subject areas, or you can come to where it's going to showcase some of the new or featured videos. I popped here on rate problems. Just give it a second to pull up. So rate problems, I mean, this is math, right? And it'll tell you right here that the grade level that this particular content is really going to be geared towards. So remember I said they're built with the learner in mind. They're going to be geared towards 8th grade learners. All right. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have a 6th grader who learns on an 8th grade level, they can't watch it because they're in 6th grade, right? It just gives you kind of an idea of the education learning level that this content is going to fit best with. And these are middle school math and pre-algebra students is generally who are going to be looking at rate. I used to teach middle school math. If you teach middle school math or you have middle schoolers at home that you have to teach, my heart goes out to you. I remember how hard it was. I couldn't do it for very long. All right, so after you go into a video lesson, right, it's going to tell you a little bit about what you're going to learn in this lesson. So this is like a little summary about what the lesson's on. And then you're going to scroll down and find the actual lesson itself. So if we were to hit play, which I'm not going to have you sit through a lesson, but if we were to hit play, we would be able to watch the entire lesson. This individual here is going to talk about rate, and is going to be some engaging visualization behind him as he discusses rate to your student. Now, one of the things I want to make sure that we touch on is if you scroll just past the video, I told you every video comes with its own lesson plan. So these lesson plans include a lot of really cool features. So I've already downloaded one. So I'm going to click over and share it with you. Okay, so this is the lesson plan that was attached with that rate problems video. If you look here, it tells you, again, roughly the grade level that this content is triggering here, what the Common Core standards are that this particular video is going to align with, roughly how long this lesson lasts. Doesn't mean the video is going to last that long. It's just roughly how long this lesson can last for your math. And it also tells you who the content creator is for this particular lesson, which is the NROC project. Then we get a description, some key vocabulary words, and activities. So after watching the video, practice working with rate problems. And it says, hey, if you're doing it on your own, right? So if you have an independent learner at home, or in your after school program who's doing this to help get them into rate, because rate is something they're learning as new concept in school, or they're re-engaging in after a while and they need that refresher. Here's some things they can do on their own to kind of get that practice in and start learning about rate. There's also options with a partner. So if you're teaching this in a classroom or again in your home after school program, and you've got two learners who are basically on that same level, or multiple learners that you can divide into groups that are going to be learning on that level, it gives you activity options and some questions that you can ask to engage your learners and have them practice this concept. There's a challenge here, which is an even more difficult application problem. So we're going from just concept to application, all within this lesson plan. Then there's practice questions that are included here with answers. And if you finish this entire lesson plan and you're like, man, this was really great, it really engaged my learner, my student was able to understand the concept, I'd love to see more. The NROC project does have an entire textbook linked page here that you can see that takes you through rate problems and gives you even more information. All of this is free and it's part of this lesson. Just going to kind of scroll through here just a little bit. This helps you, especially if you're a parent with homeschool or an after school instructor who's not a certified teacher doing this every year for many years, to have some information as well. But it also helps your learner, if they're working independently, especially, to be able to go through and get a little bit of extra from this unit. So a lot of really cool resources involved there. All right, any questions so far about what we've covered for the Achievery? All right. Oh, my chat, there we go. Perfect, thank you. All right. Now, the next one that I want to pop in and look at, because what I want to show you today is an overview of this platform. And I feel like the best way to do that is to kind of engage in different topics, grade levels, and formats that the Achievery has. So again, I'm sticking with some new content just because it's all right here on this page and I don't have to dive through stuff. But that was 8th grade math. I wanted to come down here. Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers are two of the biggest content creator contributors for the Achievery. And what's really cool is if you're looking at this screen with me, I'm sure at least one, if not all of these characters or name titles are things that are familiar to you, right? So the Lego movie, huge thing, Lego Batman, Iron Giant, that was me back in the day. I love that that movie. And even Scoob, which is the newer version of Scooby-Doo. So these are all familiar to most of the students. So again, like we talked about, it's a little bit more engaging if the student recognizes the characters. So we're going to go to Scoob here, because who can say no to Scooby-Doo? All right. So animated here, right? We're talking 2nd grade elementary math. Social emotional learning is also included. So that means this lesson, this particular video series here, not only covers math concepts for 2nd graders, but is also going to touch base on a couple of things that, like social awareness and relationships, that are going to be under the social emotional learning category. This is created by Warner Brothers and ASCD. It tells you about the lesson, variety of context, students use strategies to add and subtract numbers. Now, whereas the last one we looked at, which was rate problems, only had one video and the lesson plan included, right? This particular one, when we click on it, shows that there are stackable lessons that have corresponding exercises. So this is really great because as it's designed for the educator to be able to use it and implement it here. So you can look through. This series has multiple options for you that all stay within that category, but have it to where it's talking about different versions, right? So here we've got how can addition be used to solve problems, and next is how can subtraction be used to solve problems, and then how can adding, subtracting, and comparing amounts be used to solve problems. So all of this is still under the Scoob universe, and it's still talking about kind of the same stuff, but we've got a couple layers here. So you have a series to be able to show your students. And of course, every single one of them also still comes with that downloadable lesson plan. Some of the lesson plans are really brief. They're just one page and give you a couple of activities that you can do. Some of them, as you saw the last one for the rate problems, we had 2-3 full pages of a lot of content to kind of go through. It depends a little bit on the grade level. It depends on what the activity is or the concept is to see how many potential learning options that they can offer you. And to wrap up on Achievery today, the last one I want to go to is Dangerous Download. And these are activities that the students can do on their own. So whereas Scoob is one that's going to be led by the educator, going to show the video and then immediately go into talking about, okay, well, why did Shaggy do this? And what did we learn with Scoob here? This is something that your student can do on their own time when you give them independent learning. And if you look, Dangerous Download is for grade levels K through 3rd. So now we've had an 8th grade level math with one video. We've had a 2nd grade level math and social emotional learning that had a unit worth of stackable lessons. And here we've got a range of grade levels. And these videos here within this unit are going to touch base on technology and engineering, communication tools, digital literacy, which is cybersecurity, online safety, and digital citizenship, all very important if your students are going to be on the line at all. And social emotional learning, which is making decisions, especially if there's any kind of pressure point to those decisions. So this is the lesson is like, what are pop-ups? Should you click on them? These are fun interactive videos that help explain the dangers of using the internet if you aren't smart about it and don't understand it, with a familiar character, Faux Paul, and the lessons that Faux Paul learns throughout this process. And it spans through those grade levels, not because this one's for kindergarten, this is for first, so on and so forth, but because these concepts are very well kind of understood and organized within those grade levels, that K through 3rd grade level. So a lot of really cool stuff. And this is put together by I Keep Safe. So they're the content creators. We've seen a lot of different content creators so far. When you come to Achievery, to the webpage, there's all these new videos right now. But if you scroll all to the bottom, you can see who the collaborators are for this content. So we've got Cartoon Network, we've got Warner Brothers. CN10 just uploaded a bunch of news, like learning about the news and understanding the news, like news concept videos, really cool. Scratch is for coding. I know coding is huge right now, and getting kids started at a younger age is really awesome for these kids to be able to dive into coding. We have For Excellence. Let's see what else we got over here. Girls Who Code, Urban Arts. I Keep Safe, we've seen already. Lots of cool contributors, bottles over here, things that your students are going to be familiar with because they've already seen it somewhere already. All right, if we go to all units here, this is your search engine. So from here, you can type in what you're looking for specifically if you know the title of the video, or you can come over and select just a grade level that you want to look at all of the different content subject areas, or you can do a mixture of both. You can also come here and just select your topic and say, oh, I want to look at everything that talks about digital literacy. No grade levels, no subtopics. I'm just interested. Hit apply selection. Now, it's not going to look like anything happened, but I promise it did. If you scroll down right after that, you're going to see your videos. And again, right here, it's going to tell you the title and the suggested grade level of learners who will understand that concept and that content as it's delivered. And then you can kind of scroll down and see what you're looking for, find the grade level that you're interested in, and kind of dive into that content there. Right. Head home back over here. Any questions about the Achievery, how you can use it, or any of the tools that the Achievery has? Is there a lesson to make is there any plan to make the lessons more in-depth or interactive in the future? Actually, we just talked to AT&T about this. I think one of the cool things about this being a new platform, thank you for asking, by the way, is that we have a unique opportunity to be contributors to the content of this platform. So as educators, as parents, even the students themselves, getting that feedback to be able to go back and say, here's what we'd like to see next, or here's a concept that you have, but we want to see it grow, or here's something I'm missing in my usual curriculum that I could really benefit from. And we can present these ideas to AT&T and give them that information and let them kind of take it from there and be able to talk to their content creators and engage their content creators and say, hey, our users would love to see this. So we did just talk to them a little bit more about the lessons being in-depth and interactive. I think right now, this is, again, kind of said like a lesson appetizers. They're not looking to make it a challenge-based platform right now. This is a resource. So it's just going to be the basic knowledge factors, starting off with providing that first step, or a couple of different options into learning that content. I would love to see it grow and ask questions and be more engaging for the learner, especially for the independent work. But that's why they've included the lesson plans. And that's basically how they presented it to us. They're like, oh yeah, we really want it to be engaging. That's why each of these videos does come with a lesson plan that you can download that PDF or print it off or whatnot and use that to create more engaging activities for your students. It doesn't give it to where, you can just hand them the video right now and they just take off and do their own thing like Khan Academy has, but Khan Academy is a contributor and they're, helping create content. So who knows what the next steps will be? I think it's a really good question. And I think that it's definitely something we'll see growth on as we go, but it's really good feedback for us to take back to AT&T. Is there a newsletter to keep us in the loop for the new lessons and info being uploaded without logging in and searching regularly? Oh, really great question. Yes. So when you register for the Achievery, and I'm going to drop the link into the chat box for you to be able to do so. But when you register for the Achievery, there's an option. It's very basic. It needs your name and email address, but there's option to opt in to their newsletter. And the newsletter is really cool. I don't even know if it's on a regular schedule, come to think of it, because I've opted in and I've received it a couple times. It's not spammy. I've had the Achievery for a couple months now. I've been using it. I homeschool my 5th grader and we use it for some of our lesson stuff. And I've only received maybe 3 emails from Achievery for their newsletter. But one of the really cool things about the newsletter is not only does it talk about new content, but it also talks about specific learning objectives. So for example, last month in March 14th was National Pi Day, PI, right? 3.14, 219. Oh, never mind. Don't ask me. I don't teach math anymore. 159. 3.14159. That's correct. Anyway, National Pi Day. And the Achievery sent out a newsletter email that not only said, hey, happy National Pi Day, but included links to some of the video content they had that talked about what Pi was or how it was used at different grade levels. So it was a really cool way of like, hey, if you weren't sure how you were going to introduce this or talk about it with your student that day, or you hadn't planned on it, here's a little lesson about it that you can find that's within the grade level of the students you're teaching. So really cool content with that newsletter. Again, it's free. It's not super spammy at all. And it just focuses on the content from the Achievery that's, relevant for a holiday or new content that's been released. Generally speaking, right now, that information, those new videos are going to come out around the 1st of each quarter. Or end of the previous quarter. So like March just finished and we just started April and we just got a nice big drop of content. So we'll probably see some more come at the end of June, very 1st of July timeframe, another big drop of video content. And it's going to kind of continue that cycle for a while. All right. That's what I have for the Achievery. I'm going to jump into Teens Teach Tech next, but before I move on, I just want to make sure that there's no more questions about the Achievery. I know we took a little bit to dive in to that, but it's just really great content I wanted to share with you. All right. Perfect. All right, so Teens Teach Tech. What's Teens Teach Tech? The goal of this particular initiative is to improve digital literacy in communities by empowering youth to engage with adults and educate them on basic tech skills. What does that mean? Well, Teens Teach Tech is a grant-funded community service initiative, and it's open to 9th through 12th graders across the U.S. The whole point of this initiative is to empower these teens and harness their tech abilities that they already have, and send them out into their communities to help their family and community members gain new computer and internet skills. It allows teens to provide community service while learning real-world problem solving, collaboration, project development. It gives them an opportunity to be leaders and make a change and feel empowered in something that they already have abilities for. So Teens Teach Tech, we have a website. I've got it up here on our screen. It's www.connectednation.org/Teens Teach Tech. Say that a bunch of times fast, like I have to do all the time. It's definitely a tongue twister, but it's memorable. Teens Teach Tech is a free initiative. And that means, again, it doesn't cost anything to anyone who wants to participate. It is a community service project for high schoolers. These workshops that the high schoolers will put on are completely customizable. We provide the content, which is created by AT&T and the Public Library Association, which is very basic PowerPoint slides that cover things like how to use your computer, how to use the internet, how to use your mobile phone, cybersecurity, those type of things, how to set up email. And the content's provided to the teens, and the teens get to decide, how do we want to make a difference in our community? How can I use my mobile phone basic PowerPoint slide to teach some of the adults in my community better skills, with their mobile phones? Smartphones exist for everybody. It's really, really hard to find flip phones anymore. I know my mom has tried. She can't stand the fact that her phone is smarter than she is, she says. But basically everybody's using smartphones, right? So the smartphones come with apps that come with, connecting to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth options, all sorts of stuff that may sound like a foreign language to many adults who haven't really been immersed in technology since they left high school or college, or even the workforce if they're a little bit older. And so the teens who are completely immersed in this technology, who are using these tools every single day, they're the experts. And we want to tell them, we recognize that you're the expert at this, and we would love for you to teach us. We would love for you to help the people around you, the adults around you, who in general are the experts according to teens. But with tech, man, the adults are the ones that need the extra assistance. And so Teens Teach Tech is a already designed grant-funded project that pays out to these teens for them to go into their community and make that difference. We provide up to $500 worth of startup funds, which means if a team is like, we want to teach, the adults in our parent teacher association or our co-op, all the parents that participate in our co-op for our homeschool group, we want to be able to teach them how to do web conferencing like Zoom, like we're doing right now, and go through all of the different information about Zoom. Well, we have content providing, that web conferencing information, the curriculum, right, for the teens to teach. But it's really hard to teach everybody in a room unless every single person's on a computer and they're looking at it themselves. What would be really cool is if you could just project it onto a screen and have everybody kind of watch and follow along that way. But you don't have a projector. Well, the startup funds, that's what they're there for, to purchase that projector, to purchase the screen so that you can use it for your project, to do your teaching for the teens to be able to do. So the startup funds are up to $500 per team to cover those project needs. It's also a fundraising opportunity, or if you're not within the school system or a club or organization, it can be a direct payout to the teens that participate to go towards their college fund or as a summer job. We pay $10 per learner who is an adult who comes to learn from your teens, the teens that are going to be teaching these concepts. And that $10 per learner can build up to 200 learners, which is $2,000 per team. So if your team of 2 or more teenagers in 9th through 12th grade go in to their church group, or they're part of a beta club or a Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or 4-H, or they're just 2 best friends who are like, you know what, I want to do this summer. I want to earn some community service hours and make a little bit of extra money. Then these teens can go and teach the content that we provide to the adults, and each adult fills out a little survey, and every one of those surveys gets them $10 up to $2,000 for that team to split. So pretty cool. For homeschool families, this is a really awesome initiative because it meets the service requirements for dual enrollment students. So these are students who are in homeschool. They are also enrolled in a college program, like a college bound program. It's called dual enroll. And they have to get so many community service hours. They have to put in those community service hours in order to qualify for that dual enrollment, or to maintain it, or in order to graduate. Some clubs like the Beta Club, like I was talking about before, and Key Club, some Junior Civitan, those type of clubs throughout high school. If you're not homeschooled, you're in a school district especially, they also require you to do community service. So we provide certification that verifies that you did actually complete these service hours, and this program meets those community service requirements for that enrollment. It is also, for homeschool students especially, an opportunity to work with other local youth on a project. So a lot of homeschool families, one of the number one things that the teens struggle with when they're in homeschool is socialization. And co-ops are great for that. There's a lot of really great resources, but this program can encourage multiple teens within an area who, maybe feel kind of isolated. This is something that they can come together on as a project, work together to do this. So it kind of encourages that interaction with other youth in their community. And students applying to competitive programs, whether it be for college or some of these more prestigious honor societies while they're in high school, whether they want to do an internship program, especially if it's in something with technology, especially IT, cybersecurity, that kind of stuff. Any of them that are going to be applying to competitive programs generally have to write an essay or they have to submit some kind of proof, not only of service, but why they are a good fit for these programs, what kind of leadership they show, experience they show. And so this is a really great project to empower that leadership, to give them those resources where they don't have to design the curriculum. We've already provided it. So they can go out and complete this workshop, for Teens Teach Tech, and then write up a report on it, have pictures, talk about all the people they help. It's tallying all the people in their community that they've helped. And then that report can be something that they complete an essay on as experience, including the certificate with community service that helps make them more competitive for those scholarships. So a really cool resource there for them. I'm going to dive into the website really quick because I know we're trying to finish up here. And just pop this over. So this is that website, connectednation.org/Teens Teach Tech. You can find a lot of information on here. This is a little video that you can show your teens as well, kind of breaks everything down. There's a way for you to be able to contact us if you're interested, or if you need to learn more about our mentor guidelines. Here are all of the different subjects that the content is provided for that they can teach. So if you are going to be a mentor because you're a parent, or you oversee a certain club, or you teach in your co-op, or you're a youth leader or anything like that, you have access to the 9th to 12th graders and you're going to oversee their project. You can kind of get an idea of what material there is already provided. And then it tells you the steps that you need to take to move forward, a little bit more information. Right here, I love this. Every person trained. That's that $2,000 incentive, right? And here's where it explains the startup funds. So all of your information is right here on this website. If you have questions, if you click on the learn more or contact us, that actually comes straight to me. So I'm the person that oversees each of these teams. So I'm the project lead for the Teens Teach Tech program. And I'm more than happy to explain even more to you as you move forward if you're interested. All right, that's a lot of information, I know, for two really great free programs that AT&T has funded or put together, that Connected Nation is very proud to promote and be a part of. So I just want to thank you on behalf of Connected Nation for being here and attending this little mini webinar to talk about those different initiatives. I hope that you learned a lot and that you're interested in these valuable resources. If you have any questions, if you have feedback for both Achievery or Teens Teach Tech, if you'd love for me to come to where you are and host a Teens Teach Tech or Achievery in-person seminar, or to do a webinar where you invite other teachers in your community, parents in your community, to break down and explain either one of these initiatives to you, I'm more than happy to do that. That's what I do. This is what I'm passionate about, is sharing this information. So thank you so much for attending. This is my email address. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you may have. And I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful evening, and go check out those websites, especially hop on that Achievery. You'll see it's a really great resource. All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks so much.